love our theme music.
It's nice. Oh, yeah.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Evan and Aaron Show presents the Red and the Blue Soccer Chat. This is Professor Casey, not in his Chelsea gear.
You're still wearing blue. It's all good.
Still wearing blue.
It's all good.
It's work. Work gets in the way of our fun. This is my man, Aaron, representing the Reds of Manchester United and the U.S. Dude, I tell you, this has been a better couple weeks for us. I mean, it's been good. It's been good.
All right, if you're speaking for Chelsea, then yes, you are correct. You are indeed correct for that.
I may have overspoken, but let's just dive into this thing, man. I'm telling you, I think that our teams may have had the spark that they needed. I think both teams had the spark that they needed, and we'll see what happens because, oh man, I mean, I don't know who you want to start with, but my God, the things. Yeah. Okay. And we can do that. Absolutely, we do. And you know, I have to say that what you wrote down, coming into the show, the Villa loss kind of had us down, and then we were able to pull one out against Brighton, which at the time Brighton was playing pretty decent. They were playing very good football.
Not a team to take lightly.
Yeah, not a team to take lightly. So we got that one. And then we had 2 away wins against teams that, quite frankly, if Chelsea was in the form that they needed to be in, then we should have had results like that. 2-0 against Fulham, 4-1 against Burnley. We didn't score a single goal in September.
Yeah.
So it was, I'm sorry, we did score 1 goal in September. That was the Brighton win. But we scored 1 goal in September, and so far we have 6 goals in October. So that gives us something to look forward to. Just some highlights, and then I want to kind of, bounce some stuff off of you. Some highlights that I saw. Nick Jackson, he's got to get in the weight room. I swear, he's got to put on some mass. But he's starting to look a little more comfortable. The guy put away a decent goal. He didn't strike it very well, but you know what? It still went in. I mean, and what is your mantra that you always say? You say, hey, you don't score goals that you don't take.
Right. I mean, it's a situation where when you are trying to build any sort of positivity, especially after the kind of doldrums that you've gone through last season to start this season, anything positive. I mean, Broja's goal was, I mean, he wasn't even shooting at that point. It was a tackle from Ream that carried off. But when things aren't going your way,
that doesn't go in. Right.
So you have to start feeling, all right, we're maybe getting a little bit of the rub of the green now.
Yes, and that's the other thing too. Who would have thought that I'd be mentioning, Armando Broja and, Mudryk in the fact that I'm like, okay, they're starting to look pretty decent.
Mudryk took his goal nicely. I've been critical, and I still, grain of salt, it's a work in progress. So I think, guys still aren't making some of the runs they need to. There's a lack of familiarity.
Absolutely.
But he got himself into a goal-scoring opportunity, and he took it, and he had not been.
No.
And fluke as it was, I can tell you for a certain period of time, I was a striker, and you go through these periods where you feel like no matter how sweet you hit the ball, it's going to hit the post. The goalie's going to save it. It's going to roll just wide. Yeah. And then you get one that bounces off your ass and goes into the goal, and suddenly that alleviates this whole this churn that you've got going on, and suddenly things begin to fall your way. So hopefully that's what's happened for both of those guys.
I really do hope so. I mean, that is the moment that we were waiting for all last year, if you remember, for Timo Werner. It was like, can Werner actually make a goal? Can he score? And finally we started to see Mudryk break through, make some good runs the past couple games, start to become implemented into the offense, and lo and behold, here's the guy who's scoring a really nice goal. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? Hey, he was in the right place, right time. But for him, that meant everything. That meant everything. And finally, Raheem Sterling is shooting the ball rather than taking it to the end line and passing it back. This is what I love to see him do. I love to see him start shooting the ball because it's starting to produce results. And I'm like, okay, if we can keep that pressure up, because now people have to not only look to Sterling to score, but now they have to start keeping their eye on Broya. They got to start keeping their eye on Jackson. And, oh, wow, look, Mudryk is now finally, I think, starting to get some traction. Here's the guy who I think has been solid throughout the whole thing, Enzo. I think Enzo has been solid throughout the whole thing. He's made some mistakes. Absolutely, he's made some mistakes. But I really do think that he is a key component to controlling the midfield for us. I think that if Enzo is playing well, and if we allow Enzo to continue to just be free to be Enzo, I think that is going to pay off and give benefits to Chelsea down the road, man. I am not going to jump on the train yet. I'm going to kind of stay here and kind of just figure things out. But I do feel like the past 3 games has shown us that, yes, Chelsea is able to do the same thing that the Big 6 teams can do. Take care of teams that they're supposed to take care of. And you know what? Sometimes you got to battle it out like they did with, Brighton.
Yeah.
And then other times it just seems like, the goals just start coming, in droves like it did with Burnley. So I think that what Pochettino is doing is starting to gain momentum. Now, here's the rub. That was Fulham and Burnley.
Yeah.
We have Arsenal coming up, and then after Arsenal, is it Liverpool we have? No, not Liverpool. Who do we have? Oh, Brentford. We have Arsenal and then Brentford coming up.
Yeah, I'm not quite.
And they're both at the bridge.
Arsenal is the one that is the concerning. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
so Brentford.
I will say this. Even though Brentford is somewhat on a losing streak, I believe Thomas Frank is still a quality manager who will rally his guys.
Yes.
But this is the concern for a Chelsea fan. We're at the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have a good showing at the bridge. I think.
I feel like a draw with Arsenal on current form.
Yeah.
And a win against Brentford is, and I'm not saying shoot low.
No.
I'm not.
No.
But I think first off, as players and a manager, you walk into that Arsenal match and you are expecting to win. You play to win.
Yes.
But I think as fans and people who analyze the game, you look at it and say, right now, Arsenal's in a much better position.
Yes.
If Chelsea can keep them away from scoring goals, maybe nick one like Arsenal did against City at the weekend. But if that game ends 0-0 or 1-1, I don't think Chelsea fans are going to be too terribly upset.
No,
so long
as
huge. That's followed by a building performance where you dominate possession, dominate control of the game against Brentford, limit their abilities, and you walk away with a 1-0, 2-0 kind of scoreline.
Yes.
That's where you begin building this sort of belief amongst the players and the fans in turn. So.
And here's the thing. We're going to have those type of performances.
Yes.
We have to, because come November, it really gets hard. We play, in the FA Cup, we play Blackburn in the 4th round, but then we have this 3-game stretch. At Tottenham, we have Man City coming to the bridge, and at Newcastle. If we can get, and this is the thing, this is what I'm saying, if we can get 3 points from those games, if we can get, ties from those games, I really do feel like we are standing on pretty solid ground. If we get 2 points from those games, if we lose to City, okay, it's City. If we get 2 points, I'm not too concerned. If we can get 1 point from those 3 games, I think that still allows us to stay in the middle of the pack, having played probably 3 of the top 6 teams that are playing right now in the Premier League. Mm-hmm. And I would be okay with that. I'm trying to be realistic here, Aaron, with my predictions here. If we can get, like I said, best case scenario out of this, if we can get 3 points out of if we can get 6 points out of November, we've got to beat Blackburn. I know it doesn't count for the Premier League, but let's just say it is points. If we can get a win versus Blackburn in 3 points for the rest of the matches in November, I will be a happy Chelsea fan. I really will, because that's a hard road to row. It really is. So. One last thing I will say is Sanchez.
Sanchez.
Well done on some of the clean sheets that you've gotten. The Burnley goal, it was a good goal. It was a good goal. I think he could have stopped it, but I think that it was an excellent goal. But he stopped several shots during that match that, quite frankly, he shouldn't have had to stop. And he showed his mettle. For that match. So hats off to you. Blues, I think we've got stuff to look at. I'm once again, I'm not ready to say we're on our way back, but I am ready to say we're seeing improvement. So there you go. That's what I have to say about it, man. What do you have to say? Like, you're familiar with this process anyway. I mean, because once again, you went through this process. Mm-hmm. Are you seeing the same kind of milestones being hit that Man U kind of hit a couple of years ago?
I think the difficulty for me to answer that question comes in, I don't specifically know what Pochettino's really trying to go for yet. Okay. I feel like he's been saddled with a variety of players that may or may not be fitting into exactly what he wants to do, which every new manager comes in and has to deal with that. You get the last guy's stuff, you get some players that the owners just decided they wanted, depending on what club you're at.
Yep.
And then maybe some guys that you did want, or some guys that approximate the players that you wanted. So I don't know specifically what it is Pochettino's trying to build just yet, but you can see incremental improvements in the performances. Yeah. The fact that I feel like, going down early against Burnley 6 weeks ago might have flushed them.
Yeah,
I think they might have struggled, and you know what? They got an own goal to get themselves back into the game.
Get it back in the game.
But from there, they took over.
Palmer with the penalty kick, which we both were like, what?
I really couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it from the standpoint that obviously there's question marks, because the last time we saw somebody step up to take a penalty was Enzo, which normally look, I'm going to call him a defensive midfielder. I don't think he's truly a number 8, and I think that's a question mark. We can have a different discussion about that.
Yep.
But the fact that you've got Raheem Sterling, who I believe has taken a penalty kick in the World Cup,
yes,
certainly for England before, as well as a number of other just straight-up attacking players.
Yeah. And
Enzo took it, and it was a very, very poor penalty that I believe got saved.
It was so bad.
So, maybe Cole Palmer, maybe he's just the guy who won on Friday.
Yeah.
Right? When you do the end-of-game penalty into practice.
Yeah.
But he did end up stepping up and taking it and putting it away.
Solid.
And he walked away like, I fucking meant to do that.
Yes.
And it really felt like that gave Chelsea a building block. 2-1, suddenly they felt good about themselves.
Right.
And I think from that point forward, again, grain of salt, it's Burnley. But the task in front of you was continue to dominate, create opportunities. They created 2 more opportunities and got goals out of it. Scores 4-1, and you walk away from that and say, we are better off than we were before this match, both in terms of points and performance.
Yep.
We've put something together here.
Do you think the England national team snub that Sterling got kind of put a fire underneath him? Do you think because here's the thing, you know as well as I do that when players are snubbed, they take it personal, and they either fade away or they say, fuck this, we're going to play like we know we can play and show out.
Having not, there's a plateau for where my game went. So my ability to interpret things at this level and getting called up to your national team and stuff like that, it's hard for me to comprehend. What I can say is that If you feel like you've been performing well and someone doesn't recognize that or give you the appropriate props, then yeah, I can see it coming into play. At the same time, would you or Raheem Sterling himself say, in the first 6 weeks of this season, I deserve to be called up to the English national team? Now, the world doesn't happen in a vacuum. Harry Maguire got called up.
Well, okay.
So Gareth Southgate does have his players, but my point is, did Raheem Sterling use that as locker room fodder for himself? No. I think he's a professional and went out and said, I'm going to go out and play a game. I don't have anything to prove. I'm a full international, and I will simply begin playing the way and continue playing the way that needs to happen for me to be successful. And the other thing I think has happened is other Chelsea players are finally figuring out what the hell Raheem Sterling can do, which is beat his man to the inline every time. And I know you're like, I don't want him doing that every time.
Well, I didn't say I didn't want him, but I just
but here's the
once
thing.
in a while.
He's not a true striker.
No, not at all.
He is an attacking player. So first and foremost, him beating his man and getting to the inline and creating goal-scoring opportunities should be rewarded by other guys understanding, by Mudryk and Jackson and other attacking players recognizing, hey, Raheem's going to beat this dude. I should probably be somewhere between the 12 and the 6 for the cutback, because that's what he's going to do. And you get shots, maybe some goals, and then when Raheem beats a guy, he doesn't have to go to the inline. He can go, you think I'm going to the inline, I'm cutting in and I'm shooting, and the fact that I'm not Thierry Henry, but I'm more of a, I don't know who, I'm not a traditional goal scorer, but I can score goals, and you've given me an open look at goal because we've sold you to the inline. Those are the types of patterns of play, the intuitiveness that comes with the players and learning. And early on, it was very clear that guys didn't know what he wanted. They were not in position for him.
No, they weren't.
Because he was the only bright spot in a few early games.
Once again, is it any coincidence that Cole Palmer is now performing, having been a teammate of Raheem Sterling?
This is the kind of stuff that makes a difference. Guys, sometimes the best team you put on the field isn't just the best 11 players. It's the guys who gel the best in the goal of being a team. And you see that, I think we see now, especially, over the last few years, Cristiano Ronaldo is on an island. And if he gets the ball, he will score goals and do good things for your team. And I'm not saying he isn't a team player. I'm saying he doesn't fit into a typical team strategy and formation right now. Then you watch other guys who you won't ever go down in the annals of history of being great goal scorers, but scored a lot because they were like, I know where you need me to be. I'm going to show up and you're going to cut that ball back because you and I have just this good enough understanding. And I think that's better for Chelsea right now because you don't have truly standout superstars. So you need to be building that squad. And then this time next year, Pochettino can look at this and go, you know what? Here's where we need to upgrade. We're building the right things. I need a slightly better player in this position.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our take on what's going on with the Blues camp. Now let's migrate, shall we, to the Red Devils camp.
Now, fuck that.
Here's the thing I want to say. I want to say this. I have never had a better time in my life than sitting here with my dear friend this past Saturday. And may I say this, like both of us watching this Man U game at the end had some tears in our eyes because of, once again, and I hate using this word over and over again, but the mettle they showed, the fortitude they showed, the stick-to-itness that they showed was outstanding. And this is something that is coached. It's something that's coached, and it's Ten Hag and his. It's just I believe that it is his just motivation and his coaching that allowed these guys to stay focused enough to say, "Hey, look, we still have a shot. Let's do this." And I believe it was me that coined the phrase McTominay magic. I'm just saying.
Well, as I said in the write-up, football, bloody hell, as Fergie
Bloody hell.
so famously said after the '99 final. But I mean, it really applies, and it applies, I think, in a lot of ways to Manchester United, to the fact that over the course of their history, they've had these games where they haven't been performing at the highest level. They've not looked like the better team, and yet figured out a way to dig out goals and dig out a win. So, as they say, it's in the DNA of the club. But I think it goes a step further. I think there's something to be said for the fact that, and I don't want to go too far with this because I'm not going to pretend he's going to be like World Player of the Year.
No,
but
go ahead.
But the return of Johnny Evans.
Okay.
Somebody who came in under Alex Ferguson and played in some very, very good United teams and some poor ones, but understood what it meant to be a Manchester United player, understands what it means to be a Manchester player. And Scott McTominay, who got signed as like a 5-year-old or something ridiculous. There's a picture of him as a little kid with Fergie, and he was rumored to be one of the first guys being sold during the transfer window. It didn't happen. Other big clubs have looked at him, and he ended up not going. And now you've got somebody who comes off the bench. And look, I'm not sitting here saying Scott McTominay is now the savior of Manchester United. I'm saying Scott McTominay demonstrated the fortitude, mental toughness, and never give up attitude and belief in the badge that Manchester United has historically stood for. And yes, I'm a bleeding heart fan, and I do say that, but it's hard to look back at the history of this club and not acknowledge it.
Yes.
They've done it multiple times. They've left it late multiple times. Is it concerning how they're playing early in these games? Yes and no. I mean, I've watched a couple games recently where they were the much better team for 20 minutes, and then got undone at the other team's first attack and fell apart.
Yep.
So there is something to be said about their continuity. Where is their leadership? Who do they look to calm things down in this moment when the players that they were relying on, Casemiro's not looking all that great. Varane's not on the field.
Yep.
Johnny Evans
Garnacho's
and Harry Maguire have been calm heads in the face of a goalkeeper who apparently doesn't realize that his hands are meant to keep the ball out of the goal.
Well, now, wait a minute. Wait.
No, he's been poor.
He's been poor, but he's also been brilliant at times. I do want to stick up for Onana a little bit here because we watched this match.
He got one good save late.
Brentford had several good shots that Onana stopped. And so, yes.
Onana.
So he, I want to give him some props. But here's the deal. I want to go back to the Scott McTominay discussion.
Okay.
This is just me, as a casual outside observer of this club. This is the type of match, this Brentford match. This is the type of match that turns seasons around for clubs.
It could.
And so I think that now, if you're Eric Ten Hag, you look at Bruno and you say, hey, Bruno, I need you to keep doing what you're doing. But you also go to McTominay and say, hey, I need you to keep doing what you're doing. I need you to be the super sub coming off the bench. Does he keep him on the bench to become that kind of super sub that can come in and inject some energy? Because, once again, we know that guys coming off the bench, if they embrace that position coming off the bench, they can really produce some electrifying moments in a match late. And if you can keep it close, like Man U does. Man U, I mean, literally, over the last, let's see, I want to go back to September. Over their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches. Until late in the match, Man U has either been up by 1 or down by 1. With McTominay playing the way he is, and, once again, Man U being able to manage a game, even if they get behind, this can turn this season around for Man U. This can get them some momentum that is very, very valuable going into the winter.
Well, I look at it in two different ways. I think the win itself can be a catalyst. It came at the right time. They actually played well against Galatasaray for long periods and then were undone by poor goalkeeping, and poor goalkeeping led to a very bad decision by Casemiro, who seems hell-bent on ruining all the goodwill that he had from last season. He goes to ground way too easily. He never should have put himself in that situation, but he was in that situation originally because of the bad pass from Onana.
Yeah.
That said, I don't think this earns Scott McTominay a start, but I also don't think we need to be looking at him as a super sub. I think what we need to be looking at is, are we not putting people in the right positions formationally and on the field? And when I say that, the distinction there is you line up a certain way, but then you want people receiving the ball in certain places on the field. We're going to pause real quick for our halftime. Thank you very much to our lovely returning Claire, who just got back from France, enjoying her 29th birthday.
Yes.
29th birthday, yes.
29th. Excellent, excellent. Excellent.
So, want to say a big shout out, of course, to Chatham Tap. And just while we're here, I got a rainbow of colors in front of me. It's National Coming Out Today. We support and love our LGBTQ plus community. You are safe with us. We are allies. And look, just because it's Coming Out Day doesn't mean you have to. It's just an opportunity to say, this is who I am. So when it's right for you, you do that, and we got your back. So
and when you
much
do,
love.
come and have a shot of JMO with us. There you go.
Or Jaeger. Thank you. Big shout out to Chatham Tap. This weekend is the international break, so games do not start as early. So they will be opening at 11 a.m. Saturday and Sunday with the regular menu. So come in and get your fish and chips.
Dude, the turbacon.
The turbacon is really, really quite spectacular.
Those of you who are trying to watch some calories, the turbacon burger is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it's solid. It is very good. It definitely, you don't walk away going, that was a turkey burger.
No. You don't.
That's totally fine.
So today, actually this week in civics class, we've been talking about the American Revolution.
Oh.
So I think that it's time for us to maybe talk about. You know, there were two wars for the American independence. It was the Revolution and the War of 1812. And I asked some of my students today.
We got much better music out of the War of 1812.
Yeah, we did. I said, hey, when was the War of 1812 fought? And, like, literally there were some people that were like, I'm not sure. It's like, man.
Where was it fought?
Yeah, well, Canada. We invaded Canada. But anyway. Let's talk about our team, shall we? You know, Berhalter has put together a squad coming into the Germany and the who are we playing?
Germany and Ghana. And Germany is bringing
they're bringing their squad.
I think they're probably leaving a couple guys at home that they could stand to bring if you were saying this is going to be our World Cup squad.
Yeah.
But they're not showing up with a B team by any stretch of the imagination, nor are we.
And rightly so. We're leaving a few strikers and, you know, attackers out. But I think for the most part, we're pretty solid and they're pretty solid. So this will be a good match, I think.
I am anxious I'm anxious to see the lineup Berhalter chooses to use. He's brought Reina back in, which is good to see that whole beef get squashed. I'd like U.S. soccer to be able to move beyond that.
That is good.
But the bigger issue is that Gio can't stay healthy. He struggled, and he's played a very few minutes for Dortmund this season, and I'm glad he's been called in. But I tell you what, most other clubs, if this was an important player to them, I think at a minimum, I bet he's got a minute restriction.
Oh, I imagine
so. My question is, is he playing the first 60 minutes? Is he just coming on for 30 minutes? That really impacts the kind of formation that we're going to kind of play. We're without Tyler Adams, who I think when healthy is also going to be very integral for us.
Absolutely.
But right now, I don't know how you argue with Christian Pulisic, Yunus Musa, Weston McKennie, and Timothy Weah are all just crushing it. Tim Ream is solid for Fulham right now.
And that's the thing. I feel, once again, as a Chelsea fan, but also as a USA fan, I felt sorry for Tim Ream on the first goal we scored against Fulham. It was unfortunate.
He knew right away the mistake he had made,
He
and he actually did a great job to recover and cut it out. And it's unfortunate for him that it went as a goal, but that's football. And you know what?
Right.
As a central defender at that level and at his age, I guarantee you he went, well, that sucked. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Because that's the kind of player he is, and that's what we need back there.
Yes.
And I'd like to give shout out to Matt Turner.
He's lights out.
I know everybody's like, oh, he's going to come through and be the number one at Arsenal, and it just wasn't the case. But this man starts for a Premier League team that's fighting for their lives.
Yes.
He's going to be under pressure, and he's going to be looked at. And even if Forest get relegated, so long as he had some good time in goal, and look, if he wants to be loyal and stay with that club, totally respect that.
Absolutely.
But this is an opportunity for people to look at him and go, wow, he's got a poor defense in front of him, but he makes some really, really good decisions. He makes some saves. His distribution is good. He's been playing well. And let's take a punt on him. Maybe he replaces somebody at a bigger club.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. I'd love us to get back to having a big American names in goal. You can call it a stereotype all you want, but look, we do use our hands for most of our sports over here, and our guys are pretty good at it. And I think Tim Howard goes down as an all-time great. So
absolutely,
I would love it for Matt Turner, and I think we've got a really solid foundation. And if playing against Germany, playing against Ghana, we can bring in one or two of these other guys that have been called in while a Tyler Adams is out, while some of these other players are out. We can get maybe I don't know. I haven't seen the actual squad, so I don't know if Pepe, if Jordan, if some of these other guys are in. But it's a real opportunity to make a statement, not internationally like, oh, we beat Germany. We've already beaten Germany before.
Right.
A statement of we are bringing it. We're 3 years out, folks. We're less than 3 years out, and we are going to show up with a team that's ready to shock the world.
Here's what I'm excited about as far as Matt Turner. Once again, being a keeper, keepers are in my heart. And with Matt Turner, 2-1 Arsenal beat Nottingham Forest. If you can keep your club in a game, that is huge.
And the mad respect all the Arsenal players showed him at the end of that game.
Yes.
They knew exactly what they were up against, and they knew it was going to be difficult. And that was a tough game.
He was amazing. But here's the thing. Man City, at the Etihad, 2-0. They only scored 2. And at this point, they still had Erling Haaland on the team. He wasn't hurt yet. And so, you know what? The thing is that he can handle things. They beat Chelsea 1-0. And obviously, Chelsea was not in form yet. But still, to go into the bridge and beat them, that's huge. When Brentford was playing well, 1-1 draw. Crystal Palace, 0-0. So I'm like, you know what? He's playing well.
Yeah,
he's doing a good job.
We should be very happy about him and plenty of other guys for him going into this. I think it's one of the few times that, and honestly, I want to stop saying this. We've had guys playing for top level teams for several years now.
Yes.
But right now, we've got guys playing for some of the top teams straight across Europe. All the way across Europe.
Absolutely.
Clubs that are AC Milan's top of the table, I believe. And Christian Pulisic is scoring game winners, and Yunus Musa is setting him up.
Yeah.
And you got Weston and Timothy holding it down at Juventus.
Yes.
Right now, you got Tim Ream. I don't know where Fulham is in the table, but I know that he's the cornerstone of their defense. I know Matt Turner's the cornerstone of Nottingham Forest. So we've got opportunities here. We've got Robinson. We've got Cameron Carter-Vickers is back with Celtic now. That's huge.
Right now,
I just think there's a lot of positives. Once again, the striker position will probably be the question mark. So be anxious to see who GGG starts there.
But
this is positives.
Here's the interesting thing about right now. I think that Man U and Chelsea are trending up. I do think Fulham and Nottingham Forest are staying kind of stagnant, but right now, Man U's 10th, Chelsea's 11th, Fulham's 12th, Nottingham Forest is 13th.
Wow. That says a lot right there to me. That's huge. And you can be like super critical of Man U and Chelsea being where they are, and you should be. We're not happy about it. But the fact that we're talking about all these clubs in the same way, and the players with American players, we almost need to stop being shocked. We really do.
Oh, man, that's a great
We
point.
need to
That's a
stop
great
being
point,
shocked
dude.
by this because
Yes.
Christian's been doing this for a few years now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, the look,
He's no slouch. Let's put it that way.
I don't know if he'd be doing this at Chelsea right now, and
Right.
and you can't look at it like that. But he's found a good place for him, at least early this season. He's doing what you want to see.
Yeah.
And the best thing I heard was in the last camp, Weston saying Christian's doing all the flicks and tricks and taking people on in a way that he wasn't toward the end of last season,
Right.
because his confidence was down. So his
Yes.
confidence is up. When you've got a guy who, let's face it, I think he's borderline world class, a total game changer.
I think so, too.
And I think Weston, Timothy, Eunice, and Tyler Adams
oh, my.
are
Oh.
also in that
Oh,
conversation.
this is interesting.
I missed halftime.
Oh, so this
It's
is
a double halftime.
three-quarter time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
We took
This is why we celebrate them
Are
individually.
we hobbits? Is this like second
also,
breakfast?
also,
Second
yes,
breakfast.
it's second breakfast. It's 11's.
11's is.
Let's all wish JoJo a happy, safe, and fun trip to Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, for those who don't know, huge Disney fan myself. She
There
is
you go.
too.
There you go.
So, big cheers to that, and I hope you
cheers.
guys have a great time.
Cheers.
She's taking off tomorrow.
Yep, yep.
And bring back some ears. Bring back some ears. Ha ha. Ha. Yup.
Gosh. Wow. Okay, that's going to hit. Whoa,
So-
that's going to hit. Oh, my God.
I mean, I think we need a strong performance against Germany. If it
Yes.
ends up 2-2, that's probably okay.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to turn around and beat Ghana. I'm not disrespecting Ghana. I'm
Not at
just
all.
saying at
Not
this
at all.
stage, I think they've aged out a bit. I've not seen who new they've brought through.
Yep.
And we are one of the younger teams around with tons of experience.
Yes.
I think we should dominate that game. To be fair, we haven't dominated CONCACAF. To be fair. We haven't dominated CONCACAF in the way we need to, but if at the end of the day, you go through the World Cup and it's 60-40 possession against you for the entire time, but you play in a World Cup final, I think you've done all right for yourself.
I would agree with
So
that, my friend.
if that's where the United States ends up being, nobody's mad that certain teams with high-level players have chosen to be counter-attacking teams.
Right?
So why is it a problem for the United States to say, you know what, we're going to concede this possession because when we hit you on the break, it's Christian running at one of your left backs. It's Gio coming from deep. It's Eunice and Weston making mad-ass runs into the box.
Right now, it's working for West Ham. I mean, West Ham is notorious for just
Absolutely.
sitting back, letting you have it.
They are the kings
they're
of sucker
seventh.
punches right
They
now.
are seventh.
Right.
Which-
I've always had a soft spot for West Ham. I don't
Yeah.
like their ownership group, but I've always
Yes.
I had a soft spot for them, and especially David Moyes.
David Moyes.
Not
Yeah.
just the United thing. I liked him at Everton. I think he's a good manager.
Yes.
And I think we put way, way too much of a price tag on this charisma and things like, yes, yeah, we do have an expectation. Pep and Jose and Sir Alex and even Wenger have these personalities. David Moyes' personality is straightforward. Get the job done.
Get the job done.
And,
I love it.
And he's done it. So
That's awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So now what this has done is this has brought us to our Hey Aaron segment. Oh, wait. Let's get the drunk crowd in. Hang on. Yeah. We're kind of high and drunk. Yeah. There we go.
they all took a gummy.
They,
This crowd? Yeah. There's a lot of people who took a gummy. They might have done a dab. I'm just saying.
Woo! All right, ladies and gentlemen. So here it is for the Hey Aaron segment. For those of you out here who have Netflix, I have started watching the docuseries named Beckham, and it is really good, really good. And that kind of inspired me for this Hey Aaron segment to ask Aaron, being one of the greatest Man U fans that I have ever known, what is your number one David Beckham moment?
For me, it is absolutely 100% the goal he scored against Greece in 2001 on a free kick to take England to the World Cup. It's iconic in so many ways, but the fact that he not really, first off, he played his heart out. He literally, if you can, go back and watch this game. The guy covers every blade of grass. He wears the captain's armband like it should be pinned to his heart. Yes. He's just everywhere. And they have to win. They have to win. This is a playoff because, ironically or coincidentally, check me, but he missed a penalty against Turkey in the final game of, I believe that's correct. I could be way off on this, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. I might be conflating my timelines. Regardless, the
Hey, ¿cómo
Gustavo. Yeah, say hi.
Hey.
Hola.
Hola. Hola. Yeah.
We are multicultural here.
Multicultural.
So the fact that I can't remember the timeline, I could be way off, but this goal was definitely to send them to the World Cup in 2002, and he had missed several badly. And if you watch the replay, Teddy Sheringham walks up and says, "Hey man, you've had your chances. It's my turn." And Beckham just looks at him like, "No man, I've dialed it in." And he proceeds to call up an absolutely pitch-perfect, game-winning free kick from about 25 yards out. Iconic score, iconic Jesus pose. It's seared in my memory. I was watching it live. Sent him to the World Cup. What more could you ask for? And that's who he was. He was a big game player.
Yes.
I remember at the time having friends who thought, oh, he's way overrated. He's all early social media. He's all hype. He's not this player. And the reality is, you don't accidentally play for Manchester United and Real Madrid and AC Milan.
That is true.
Yeah,
that is true,
this is
my
not
friend.
an accident.
No.
You go to these clubs because they see value in what you can provide. Not just selling jerseys. The fact that if you get on the ball,
score goals.
Ronaldo and Zidane are on the end of that shit.
Yes.
At
yes.
AC Milan, Zlatan is on, or not Zlatan, at PSG, Zlatan's the end of that stuff. Cavani's on the end of that stuff. This man did something that very, very few players in the game have ever done, and he's kind of the second coming of George Best. George Best is one of the original...
Oh, man, you invoked a name right there.
But George Best was one of the original, like, pop star athletes in Europe.
That's a good point.
It hadn't happened before. They didn't treat people like that. And Beckham came along. It's this handsome London kid with a sweet right foot playing with a bunch of other homegrown Manchester lads. Dates a pop star.
Yeah.
Dresses funny.
Yeah.
Talks with a little, like he's almost Mike Tyson. He's got this high-pitched, kind of soft-spoken thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's a killer. David
yes.
Beckham is an absolute ninja. He's a silent killer.
Yeah.
You don't expect this dude, and then he shows up, and you're like, that happened? Yeah, that happened. Go watch a 10-minute highlight reel of David Beckham megging dudes in the Spanish league. Watch him absolutely mugging guys in the Spanish league because they don't want any physical contact.
What about when he was 17 years old, dude, and hitting a goal from mid-fucking field? Like literally chipping the keeper.
That's the shit. That's the shit that you. That's the shit you do at the end of practice just to fuck around. And he did it at the end of a game that they had won. But I guarantee you, if he'd have done that and it hadn't have gone anywhere near goal, they'd have chewed his ass out.
Yep.
But you know what? He scores that goal, and then immediately panned to the bench, and you've got Eric Cantona and Sir Alex just clapping, going,
God.
You know what? We do have something special on our hands here, and. They had something special in so many positions, but he's a true United number 7, and his goal against Greece will be on
forever.
top 10 lists forever.
Yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, man, if you have not started watching this, watch it. Beckham on Netflix. Netflix, if you would like to.
I haven't started watching it.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I need to binge things, people. I think you know this about me.
Friends, Friends, what's up? In Netflix, if you would like to, monetize us, we would definitely love that.
Is that how this works?
Yeah, it's on
Okay,
Netflix.
cool.
It's on Netflix. It is on Netflix. So anyway, so that brings us to the Aaron. No. The Aaron's final words.
Yes.
Aaron's final words, which is actually my favorite part of the show, because once again, this is the beautiful sport. This is a beautiful game, and everything about it can transcend a lot of things. And I want to know what's on your heart tonight, man. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of shit going on in the world today. And I just want to know what's going on with you, what you want to send us out with. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think we're going to get on the Insta. We're going to get on the Insta.
We might
tonight.
get there.
I think
well,
yeah.
let's see how long I take.
Let's see how long you take. But
Strap
Aaron,
in, fuckers.
Yeah, Aaron's final words, Aaron's final segment. So, Aaron, what are you sending us out with tonight, man?
We're in an era, an age of sound bites, of 10-word clips, of reductionism, of reducing complex concepts to very basic ideas in order to reach this simple audience. And to a certain extent, I understand the desire to be like, okay, this is a very complex thing, and I need to convey a lot of information to you in a very small amount of time. But it's gone too far. And the reality is, complexity is integral to us as humans, as a planet, to our progress. And we have got to stop being so simplistic. And here's what I mean by that. It is possible to hold two seemingly contradictory thoughts in mind, and for both of them to be true.
Here we go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I turned
that
it on
is,
so I can say amen, by the way.
That is, you can believe that Israel's policy in Gaza and the West Bank is discriminatory and unfair. And also that Hamas is a terrorist organization that indiscriminately attacked women, children, people at a music festival.
Yep.
It is possible to hold the idea that Ukraine is maybe not without corruption in its government, but that providing them aid against Russia bent on destroying NATO is a good thing.
Yes.
We can hold the notion that our people, our own people, this country needs aid in many, many ways, which certain people continue to vote against, but they need aid in certain ways. We need infrastructure. We need better health care. We need better roads. We need better things. But it's also just as important to ensure that Russia doesn't invade the Ukraine.
Sir.
My bad. And also that the Middle East has a stable democracy.
Yes.
It's possible to say that I don't agree with Israel's policies and acknowledge that what just occurred is horrific.
Some bullshit.
It's possible to say that police in America have one of the worst jobs, most disrespected, and what they deal with on a day-to-day basis is terrible.
Yes.
And also acknowledge that they must do better in their interactions with people of color, and that there is an endemic issue within policing in America that is built on superiority. It is possible to hold the notion that America is a beautiful, great beacon, a shining beacon on the shore, and that it must do better in its dealings. It must be better with honoring the ideals of its institutions. James Baldwin, I'm going to paraphrase.
Come on now. Come on.
Said, I love this country.
Yes.
And therefore, I reserve the right to criticize it in order to make it better at all costs. It's possible to hold these dual concepts in mind and not be compromising yourself.
Yes.
It's possible. By the way, it's possible to be a liberal and say, you know what? This was wrong.
Yes.
Yes, Israel is wrong in how they treat some people, but it was also equally as wrong
for Hamas.
I'm not doing both sidesism here, because I'm telling you that Palestinians are not Hamas and Jews aren't Israel.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Can you say that again for the people in the back of the room?
Palestinians are not Hamas and Jews are not Israel. What their governments decide to do, don't incriminate every person in that country.
Yes.
And you know what? That's rich coming from an American, because I get it. I absolutely get it. But I'm also bearing my soul and saying, I got problems with this.
Yes.
I'm the first to say we're not doing it right. I'm the first to say, you know what? You have the right to say, to stand up, but I don't think it was the right time to fly a Palestinian flag outside your congressional office. I think it sends the wrong message, and you must do better with your messaging.
Yes.
So we have been given these higher functions as human beings. The ability to hold multiple thoughts in mind, to be able to discern different high-level philosophical concepts. And if we reduce everything to their bad, their good, those people deserve to die, blah, 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 then we are simple-ass creatures, and we must absolutely do better, or we are lost as a species.
My God. Dude, like seriously, it's absolutely fucking amazing. I love you. I
love you.
I love you, man. And I've got nothing else to say.
National Coming Out Day. LGBTQ plus community, we got your back. We love you.
Love you.
People of color, we love you.
Yes.
White people, we love you. Let's all just do better and acknowledge that you can have an issue with somebody's lifestyle and still acknowledge that they deserve the same basic human rights and dignity that you never have had to worry about in your entire life.
That's it.
So you know what? Thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
I'm never going to stop doing this, by the way. Ever. Thank you for tuning in. If you dig it, awesome. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, all that online shit. If you don't, hey man, hit me up in the DMs and we'll have a fucking chat about it.
Exactly.
Because better to have a beer. We're closer than we are apart most of the time. Hashtag say gay.
Hashtag black people vote. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is me, Evan, and my best friend, Aaron, coming at you tonight from Chad and Pat Fishers. We love you. Peace out.